Welcome back, friends, to the Deep Dive. We're really glad you're joining us for this exploration today.
Yes, welcome everyone.
We're looking at lesson 212 from the course. It's quite profound, and it brings back a really powerful idea we've touched on before. I have a function God would have me fill.
And I'm happy we're exploring this one together. You know, this lesson, it can feel pretty big at first glance, maybe a little abstract even.
It can, yes.
But like so much in the course, if we approach it with some curiosity, let ourselves slow down a bit, its practical use becomes surprisingly clear. It really offers something transformative for just our daily lives.
We'll definitely get into the practicality. But first, just a reminder, if a question comes up for you or you have a personal story about your own journey with the course you'd like to share, please do send it to us.
We genuinely love hearing from you.
The email is acim@theworldharmonyproject.org. And you can also find us on TikTok and YouTube. Our handle there is @theworldharmonyproject.
Okay, so with that, let's read today's lesson.
Yeah.
We'll start with 212, and it points us right back to lesson 192, which is really foundational for what we're discussing.
All right, lesson 212, I am not a body. I am free, for I am still as God created me.
And now, lesson 192, which 212 reminds us of today. I have a function God would have me fill. I seek the function that would set me free from all the vain illusions of the world. Only the function God has given me can offer freedom. Only this I seek, and only this will I accept as mine.
You know, that line, I have a function God would have me fill.
Yeah.
It always sparks something. There's a sense that it's given, right? Not something I invent or earn.
Mm-hmm.
But even knowing that, my first very human reaction is still, okay, what is it? What do I need to do now?
Yeah.
That immediate impulse to make it another task, another spiritual job.
Oh, I know that feeling exactly. That internal pressure. And honestly, I was just going through a bunch of job applications recently, and when I read that line this morning, I actually pictured needing a spiritual resume.
Right.
But the relief comes when you remember this isn't a new assignment.
Right.
You're not being recruited for some big external mission you need qualifications for. It's more like a reminder, something you already have access to. It's already yours inherently.
That's such a critical distinction. It's not a task, not a skill to pick up, but a state of mind we just return to, recognizing what's already true.
Exactly.
So if the function isn't about doing something new out in the world, what does the course actually point to as this God-given purpose?
Well, the course is remarkably consistent on this. Over and over, it guides us to one answer. Our function is forgiveness. And I have to admit, when I first encountered that years back, I felt, well, a little disappointed. Underwhelmed, maybe.
Expecting something more.
More dramatic, perhaps. More obviously heroic. Something that looked like it would change the world visibly. But my understanding now is completely different.
How so?
Forgiveness isn't just being nice or ticking a spiritual box. It's the actual thread you pull that unravels that whole tangled web of self-protection and mistaken beliefs.
And this is where it gets incredibly practical day to day. The course explains that holding on to grievances, that's what binds us to the idea of being a body.
Right, not just the physical form, but the ego's whole concept of us as separate, small, vulnerable.
When we hold on to anger, we reinforce that feeling, that tightness, that sense of threat, the need to defend. It makes us feel contracted, blocking the truth of who we really are. Just like constantly signing up again for that limited identity.
The course uses this metaphor that really grabs you. Every time you feel that stab of anger, it's like you're holding a sword right above your own head. It feels like it's aimed outward at someone else, doesn't it? But from the course's view, your own mind is hurting itself. It's choosing to stay stuck in that limiting story. It's a self-inflicted wound, really.
I've carried old stuff way past its sell-by date. I tell myself, oh, that's done, moved on. But then months, maybe even years later, doing dishes, driving, find myself replaying the whole scene. The old story just pops up, still holding on.
Absolutely.
The course has that other powerful metaphor when you imprison someone in your mind with a grievance.
You become your own jailer.
Exactly. You're the one who can't leave.
I remember big falling out with a friend years ago, and for the longest time, I truly thought I'd forgiven it.
You felt clear.
I thought so. But then every now and then I'd catch myself having these little imaginary arguments in my head, laying out exactly how he should have acted, how I was wronged. That energy, that unresolved charge was definitely still active.
Yeah.
Still subtly coloring how I saw things.
You're stuck guarding the cell door, trapped by your own judgment, by the story you won't let go of.
Talk about an unpaid job the ego gives us guarding grievances.
We've all punched that clock, haven't we? Being the unpaid guard. I know I have.
It really shows how self-defeating it is. You think you're maybe protecting yourself or upholding some kind of justice, being morally right, but fundamentally, we're just anchoring to a painful narrative. And the question it forces you to ask is, what do I really think I'm winning here? What's the payoff for keeping this internal conflict going when I know deep down it's costing me my peace?
That question, what do you think you'll gain? That's a potent one for all of us. Just pause and consider right now. Is there a grievance you're still holding? Maybe one that feels more connected to protecting who you think you are, proving you're right, rather than actually healing. It can be startling sometimes to see how much we'd rather be right than be free.
And this loops back to our function. It's not about performing forgiveness like some grand gesture. It's about remembering the truth of ourselves and just letting that truth work.
Letting it unfold.
Yes. The Course says, forgiveness gently looks upon all things unknown in heaven, sees them disappear. Now, that doesn't mean pretending bad things didn't happen or erasing memories. It's more about releasing the version of yourself you built to survive those things. The defensive self, the justified self. You're letting go of that internal job description. Must be right at all costs.
That was a huge shift for me. I used to see forgiveness as this monumental task, almost superhuman effort required.
I think many do.
But now, I see it more as just removing what didn't belong there in the first place, dropping the weapon, putting down a burden you were never actually supposed to carry. We deserve that freedom. It's our natural state.
We absolutely do deserve it, though it definitely requires practice. The Course tells us forgiveness is acquired. It is not inherent in the mind, which cannot sin.
Acquired? That's interesting.
It means it's not something we just invent out of thin air. It's a truth we learn to accept, a state we acquire through willingness, through consistent practice of seeing differently.
That's an important point. It doesn't mean forgiveness is unnatural, does it?
No, none at all.
It's more that the need for forgiveness only exists because we bought into a false idea. First, the belief in guilt, in separation.
Precisely, that foundational error.
So, because we're holding on to that mistake, forgiveness becomes the necessary bridge back to our actual truth, our innocence, back to the function God gave us.
So if you're listening right now and maybe thinking, but I don't feel forgiving, or this just feels too hard, please hear this. That feeling is not a failure. It's not a roadblock.
No, it's crucial information.
It absolutely is. It's actually the real starting point. It shows you just how deeply your sense of identity has gotten tangled up with the ego stories. And your function isn't to instantly fix that belief. It's simpler.
What is it then?
It's to step back, take a breath, and just be willing for truth to enter. That willingness itself is incredibly powerful. It's the doorway.
Even the tiniest bit of willingness, a flicker, it can open up so much. You don't have to keep swinging that sword of anger. You don't have to stay locked in that inner prison guarding old pains.
Yeah.
You just need to want something else, want peace enough to be willing to try.
Yeah.
That small desire changes the whole dynamic. We actually got a listener question that fits perfectly here, something many of you might relate to.
Oh, great.
The question was essentially, does forgiveness mean I need to go back to people I've held a grievance against, to get closure?
That is such a thoughtful question, and a common one, because when you really start practicing forgiveness the way the Course talks about it, it does stir things up. Old relationships, unfinished conversations, it all comes up for review.
It really does.
The Course definitely invites that review.
But what's really fundamental to grasp here is that forgiveness, in the Course's terms, isn't primarily focused on the other person out there. It's profoundly about your own mind.
Your internal state.
Exactly. You aren't forgiving them for what they did. You're forgiving your perception of what they did. You're forgiving the meaning you gave it. The mistake, from this perspective, wasn't their action. It was your belief that they have the power to take your peace or your safety or your love away from you.
That can be a tough one to wrap your head around at first, can't it? Because our usual way of thinking is that forgiveness is something we do for someone who hurt us.
Right. It's directed outwards.
But the Course flips that. It asks us to forgive our projection onto them, our choice to see them as guilty, our belief that they could actually separate us from our true nature, from love, peace, innocence. That belief is the illusion we need to release.
Lesson 192 puts it very directly. Forgiveness is illusion that is answer to the rest. Meaning the only reason we need forgiveness is because we first judged something as real when it wasn't. We made an error in perception. So forgiveness becomes the way to undo that error, not by confronting the person, but by releasing the story within our own mind that's binding us.
So connecting that back to the question, do you need to go back to the person for closure? The Course would guide you to see that it isn't required. The real issue isn't the external event itself.
Not the form.
Not the form, it's the meaning your mind attached to it, the story you built around it. That's what's keeping you stuck, not the other person or the past event.
Which isn't to say reconnecting never happens. Sometimes, after you find that genuine inner peace, a conversation might occur naturally.
It can.
But if it does, it feels different. It feels peaceful. It's not an emotional showdown or a chance to say, I forgive you, but it's clean, free of needing a certain outcome. And often that external step just isn't necessary at all because your peace isn't depending on it anymore.
Let's be really clear on this. Course-based forgiveness isn't mainly about fixing the past or making things harmonious externally. Its core focus is recognizing your own projection of guilt, your own belief in separation, and choosing to let that go. That's where the healing is. That's your real function, unburdening your own mind.
Okay, so if you're holding on to something from the past and wondering about reaching out for closure, let's walk through how you might apply Lesson 212 practically. These steps focus on forgiveness as that internal shift.
Good idea.
Step 1, acknowledge the mental script. Gently bring the person or situation to mind. Just notice the story that plays on repeat. What are the accusations? What do you believe they did or took or failed to provide? Recognize these thoughts as your projections. This is the starting place for forgiveness right there in your own perception.
Step 2, remember who needs forgiving and for what. This reframes the whole thing. Silently say to yourself something like, I'm not forgiving them for what they did. I'm forgiving myself for believing they could take my peace, my safety, my love. I'm forgiving the illusion I treated as real. This really gets to the heart of it. You're undoing your own belief in separation's power. Step 3, choose your true function. Remember, Lesson 192. Forgiveness is the only function meaningful in time. Your aim isn't to rehash the past externally. It's to use this present moment to release it internally. So affirm quietly. I have a function God would have me fill. I choose to free us both. This is that moment of choosing a different path, dropping the internal conflict.
Step 4, release the need for a specific outcome. If you feel that pull to reach out, just pause. Ask yourself honestly, is this coming from a place of wanting true inner peace? Or is it maybe about needing proof you were right or wanting an apology? If it's about getting something from them, closure on your terms, that's a sign the ego story is still running. Let that be your cue to turn back inward. You can affirm, my healing doesn't depend on anyone else changing. I am free right now. Step 5, let the form follow the inner shift. If, after you've genuinely found that inner peace, a reconnection happens naturally, fine. It will come from love, not neediness. But here's the liberating part. Even if that external moment never happens, forgiveness has already done its job. It has freed your mind. That's the only goal that matters here.
And please remember, if that old story pops up again later, and it might, that isn't failure. It's just another chance to practice. Remember, forgiveness is acquired. It's a process we learn through repetition. Each time we choose it, our mind remembers a little more of what's actually true.
So if you're debating whether to reach out or stay quiet, always start the work within your own mind. That's where genuine closure resides. That's where peace begins. And that's where you fulfill your real function, the one God would have you fill.
So the practice today, it sounds simple, but it isn't always easy, is it? Notice the anger, the grievance. See that sword you might be holding over your own head. And then consciously choose freedom instead.
And remember, you don't need to feel perfectly peaceful or completely clear before you start. You can begin right where you are. Just by being willing to want peace more than you want to be right. That willingness, however small, is everything.
Forgiveness really isn't just something you do for someone else. It's the most direct way to walk yourself back home. Back to the truth of who you really are.
Thank you so much for joining us in this exploration today. Keep practicing with this, be gentle with yourself, and we look forward to sharing the next one with you.
Yes, thank you. And remember, we always welcome your input. You can reach us at ACIM at theworldharmonyproject.org or find us on TikTok and YouTube at The World Harmony Project. We do look forward to hearing from you.